we're playing prevent defense. We've surrounded our country with missiles to make sure nobody throws the long bomb, but we've stopped having an offense. What's our offense? Our minds, our creativity, our schools. Those are our offensive weapons. Right now, education is the lowest priority in our society. It's the lowest priority in our state. It's the only thing we're allowed to vote against. If you get up, people get angry with Reagan, with Reaganomics, they get angry with Congress, you get angry with taxation, you can't vote against your federal income tax. So people get up election morning, angry with government, angry with taxation, angry with their spouse, they go to the polls, say, I'm angry, I'm voting no. What's on the ballot to vote no on? School levies. 3 out of 4 people who vote on school levies don't have children in public schools, and then we wonder why our schools keep closing. I always say that we pay our shortstop in Cincinnati $4.5 million for throwing people out at first base. Great, throws them out every time. He hasn't taught one child how to read. What do we pay our teachers? We have to make education a priority again in this state. We're sitting in the 3rd largest corporate headquarters in America, Cleveland, Ohio. And within 5 blocks of these corporate buildings are all these folks who are out of work. And one of the reasons they're out of work is because we held their kids in our schools for 12 years, and we never taught them a skill which relates to the jobs which exist in those buildings. Education has to be the top priority. First, we have to get it off of the property tax. The property tax is an unfair tax. It's unfair to the people that have to pay it because it bears no relationship to their ability to pay. And it's unfair to our students because a child's education becomes dependent purely upon the wealth of his neighbors or the willingness of the neighbors to vote an increase in their tax. When was the last time we voted on state police? Why do we hold our kids hostage to the economic and political environment of the moment? I say we take education off of the property tax, finance it out of statewide graduated income tax. You have a good year, you pay. You have a bad year, you don't. 4 days before the election, I'm telling you we need a statewide graduated income tax, an increased tax to pay for education. It's not sacrilegious to say that. It's the truth. It's the truth. Why do we keep believing that we can run for political office by always saying no new taxes, no new taxes, no new taxes? Those are lies, lies, lies. There are always new taxes. When we're not raising our state taxes, we're forced to raise our local taxes. If we don't pay for education now, we're going to pay for it later. We're going to pay for it in closed schools, bankrupt cities, and our kids bolting for the coast as soon as they turn 18 because they don't believe they have a chance of making it here in America. We are going to have to pay for education. The future is high technology. High technology is not going to come to a state that can't keep its schools open or won't finance its institutions of higher learning. We're going through what New England went through 20, 30 years ago when the textile industry picked up and moved south. New England was devastated. They looked around. What did they have? They had good schools, great universities, and they became the center for high technology. They now have a booming economy. We have to do the same thing here in the state of Ohio. We have to concentrate on a strong education system that will bring jobs to Ohio because there'll be a trained labor force, and there'll be people prepared to take the jobs of the next generation. That is what a governor has to do. I refuse to join the stampede to the right that is taking place here today in this country and is also starting to take place in our party. I sometimes have the feeling, watching the debate, watching this campaign over the last 2 weeks, that we should have shown up last week when you had the Republican candidates here, because I'm not sure I see a difference. I think that we are starting to pay homage to the Republican issues. No matter what we say in this room, the television commercials we run are commercials on the death penalty, commercials on mandatory sentencing, commercials on no new taxes. What is the difference between us and the Republicans if that's what we try and get elected on? I refuse to sacrifice the principles and constituency of the Democratic Party on the altar of no new taxes. When my parents came to this country, they became Democrats. And they decided to become Democrats, and what drew them to the Democratic Party was not the rallying cry of a death penalty. Being survivors of a Holocaust, you start to lose your affection for that remedy. They did not become Democrats because of the rallying cry of mandatory sentencing. They did not become Democrats because of the rallying cry of no new taxes. They became Democrats because the Democratic Party was the one party that seemed to sense the passion and need of people who are down and out at times of their lives, people that are out of work, people that have no money, people that have a mentally retarded child that needs help. These services cost money. And who are we to say that we're going to cut back on those vital services? Not if I'm your governor, not if I'm the leader of the Democratic Party. We are going to fight not just for the leadership of this party, we're going to fight for its soul. We're going to remember that we're Democrats. Thank you.